Hello friends, my name is McKenna and welcome to Knit Between the Lines, a knitting podcast. This is a podcast where I talk all about my love for knitting and spinning and anything else I might get up to when it comes to fiber arts. I've got some whips to show you, a new cast on, so grab whatever project you're working on and let's jump into it. First things first, let's chat about what I'm wearing today, and this is the Softly vest by S Knits. I actually test knit this vest for S Knits back in earlier this summer, and she released it in July, and it's a really cute, mine is particularly oversized, but it's not meant to be this oversized, but it's a super cute round neck or v-neck vest with these double knit like hem or sides, and the sides are actually completely open and they connect with these really cute little buttons. So I knit mine rather oversized just because I wanted a more like loose kind of oversized look. I feel like it's a very, very chic, but I think it's meant to have a little more negative ease. And it is technically considered, I want to say, an Aran weight gauge, because mine is a DK weight held with a Mohair, so giving a more like worsted Aran gauge, and a lot of people used 2 fingering weights and a Surrey or a Mohair held together. S Knits is known for doing a lot of fun like marling designs, and that was her intention with this design. I kind of went for a more subtle version, and it was yarn I had already had in my stash at the time. So I knit mine out of Magpie Fibers, Swanky DK, and Follow You Into the Dark, and I believe Knitting for Olives, Soft Silk Mohair in Deep Blue. So I do have a marl to mine. It's just really, really subtle. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's really dark. But the actual DK weight yarn is like a blue-green, that petroleum blue-green, and then the Soft Silk Mohair is very much a true deep blue. So the marl is there, it is just very subtle, which I feel like gives a very chic look. And I cannot wait to get more wear out of it this fall. I finished mine like in the middle of the summer, so it was too warm to be wearing essentially a worsted or Aran weight vest, even though my arms are exposed. But I really, really love it. It's super soft, super drapey. If you're interested, head over to Ravelry and check out the project details. There's a bunch of beautiful test knitter projects underneath the pattern on Ravelry if you want to get some color ideas or just looking at different amounts of ease. So I opted to knit the size 7, not the size 8, to achieve an oversized fit with 8 inches of positive ease. So my armholes are pretty deep and it's pretty loose, but I really, really love the look of it. I can pop in some pictures that we took for my test knit project page to be linked for when the pattern went live, but I absolutely love it. I also love the look of a little bit of less ease too that I've seen from the designer's samples as well as the other test knitters. So I do have yarn to potentially make a more negative ease version. I just really love the look of the buttoned sides because I only did 2 buttons, so it kind of gives a look of a split hem, which I feel like it's just very flattering on my body shape because it kind of hits me right where I'm smallest, where that last button is, and then the one panel goes down straight and the other panel goes down straight, so my hips kind of come out from that split hem. I feel like it just looks really, really nice. But I've seen people button it all the way down too as well, but I feel like if I were to make another version with less ease, I would still only do the 2 buttons because I just really kind of like that look of the split hem. And I believe there's also an option for I-cord ties instead of buttons too, which is nice. And there's also a V-neck. I knit the round neck version, but I definitely recommend it if you're interested. You can hop over to her S Knits Instagram page. She's got some details over there, and also it is available on Ravelry with all of the test knits project pages on there for more information and helpful hints. So definitely go check those out if you're interested. Anyways, let's jump into works in progress. So let's talk about probably my longest outstanding work in progress, which is the Sunshine Tee by Andrea Gaughan. So I have made some progress on this project, not a ton, just because the weather has really turned for the fall time and I may have cast on a different project because I wanted to knit on one of my fall things, but that's neither here nor there. But I did get some progress on this. Last time you guys saw it, I believe I had only knit a couple inches into the body, and I have since knit quite a bit more on the body, as well as, oh my gosh, my yarn is all tangled. See, this is the issue when you're Working with more than 2 colors, even if it's literally just stripes, I feel like the yarn management is always just insane. Since then, I knit quite a bit into the body, and when I put it on barber cord to try on to kind of see where I liked the length of it, I noticed that the armholes were very, very deep. Like, they hit like the bottom of my bra line, and like that was just really deep for me, and I got really concerned. I was like, is my gauge off? Like, did I mess up when knitting the underarm increases and like the front and the back yoke before I connected them? So I got really worried, and I didn't want to like rip it out, because I know you should just trust the pattern and you should just trust the designer, but I was more worried that I had messed up somewhere along the lines. So what I decided to do is I went back into the pattern and I looked at the sleeves, and I was like, okay, am I picking up all of these stitches? So I actually went through and I counted the stitches on my armhole, and I had like 160 some odd stitches, but I only was supposed to pick up 112 of them. So that was gonna get rid of like 50 stitches just by picking up the armholes, which was gonna kind of bring up the dip of the underarms a little higher. So I was like, okay, like what I'll do is I'm just going to put the body on hold for now, and I'm going to pick up one of the sleeves and do one of the sleeves. Because if I do one of the sleeves and then try it on and the underarm is brought up just enough to where I like it, cool, we can just keep moving on, it'll be great. I just didn't want to knit the whole body, knit both the sleeves and then the collar and then try it on, and it was too deep and I didn't like it. And I didn't want to like have to rip out an entire project, even though I'm pretty deep into it at this point, but... So I went back in and I picked up a sleeve, and it definitely did bring up the armhole a little bit, like the underarm a little bit, which is also important because that's going to affect your body length as well. Because if your armholes are down here and then they're brought up by the sleeves, that's going to bring up the body of the sweater as well. So I think it's a good idea that I also did that, because that's going to give me a better idea of where my body, the end of my hem is going to be. Because I don't want to make this too terribly cropped, but I don't want to make it too long either. But here it is. So this is the first armhole. Let me see if I can like get my arms through this a little bit. So this is the bottom of the armhole. Like, it is very deep. And I'm telling you, this was the bottom of my bra, like my bra line here, and that was just like freaking me out. This is now the sleeve. So, like, not nearly as deep anymore. It definitely brought it up quite a bit. So, like, you can kind of see where that sleeve is versus where the bottom of this is. So it brought it up significantly. I have not finished the sleeve yet. I am working on the double folded, like, hem essentially for the sleeves right now. So once I get that sewn down, I am going to retry this on to see where it kind of hits me and see how much it affects the length. But I am so glad that I did that. I think there's quite a few people I know, if they're working like a front and a back yoke and connecting at the underarms, they'll knit a couple inches and then put that on hold. Or if they're doing like something in the round and they're putting the arm stitches on hold and then casting on underarm stitches and working in the round, they'll work a couple inches and then they'll actually go back and at least do the collar, because oftentimes your collar will also kind of cinch up your project a little bit, and that can affect the length. And obviously in this scenario specifically, if you go back and do your sleeves, it can bring it up as well, which can affect your length. So I think it was a pretty good idea that I went back and I ended up just picking up the sleeves. And so, moral of the story, my friends, if you are ever concerned about your armhole depth or the length of your body or the way something is fitting up here, put your body stitches on hold and like do the collar really quickly, or maybe cast on, or not cast on, but maybe pick up the stitches for your sleeves and work a couple inches and just see how that affects the fit of your body, because it really does have a massive effect and can also help you make decisions on length, if you need to cast on more underarm stitches, if you actually need to like rip out because it's not fitting correctly. Like, I feel like it can give you so much information in order for you to make a decision before you're too deep in the project and then you're like brokenhearted ripping out a whole sweater. So definitely, if you're ever worried, just throw those body stitches on some barber cord or an extra pair of needles and work the collar, work the sleeves, and kind of see from there if it actually is okay before we make any reckless decisions and decide to rip out a project when we don't have to. Because this very much proved to me like, oh no, we're fine. We're fine. I just got a little scared. But it was nice to get that reassurance now rather than being nervous about it the whole project and then either being super excited because it worked versus, oh no, this is still too deep, I don't like it, I'm never gonna wear this, and then either rip it out or just like it's gonna sit in a bucket somewhere and I'm never gonna touch it again, and that would have been a waste of yarn and a waste of my time. Either way, working on the sleeve, the little stripes are looking really, really cute. I do have quite a bit of the body done, but I think, because when I tried this on, the body was kind of hitting like right at the top of the waistband of my pants. So I was like, oh cool, I'm only gonna have to do like maybe another inch before I do the ribbing. Bet you that's gonna change now that I picked up the sleeve, because it definitely brought up the shirt a little bit, which is gonna affect the length. So I probably have way more to knit on this body than I thought I did. So I think it's, again, I'm really glad that I just did the sleeve. But Sunshine Tee, Andrea Gaughan. The yarn I'm using is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. The main color is this dusty blue whale color, and then my stripes are in ballerina and soft blue. Cotton Merino is 70% cotton, 30% wool, and it is probably one of my favorite summer yarns to use. I just wish they had it in more weights. Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino is only available in a fingering weight, and I really feel like if they offered this in a DK, a lot of people would purchase it, because I know a lot of people do not like knitting fingering weight garments, and a summer t-shirt does not need to be knit in fingering weight for it to be a summer t-shirt. It's more about the content of the fiber than it is the weight of the yarn. Hopefully by next podcast this will be finished. It's just right now I have lost a little motivation to knit it, but we're so close, and I'm not gonna let myself languish, even though my husband and my mother have both looked at me and said, what if you just like put it away and worked on it next summer so you can start working on your fall stuff? And I was like, guys, I really don't need you to instigate my behavior right now or validate my behavior. The other project I have that I showed you guys last week was my vanilla socks that I cast on for the Hillsborough Hops game back at the end of August. And I actually made quite a bit of progress. So I have one finished sock, and I think the colors are so cute. It turned out adorable. Like, I cannot wait to wear these, especially now that we're getting into fall. I can just see these kind of peeking up at the top of my boots in the fall, and I think they're just going to be a really cute little pop of color. I think this has to be one of my favorite self-striping socks I've ever made, and I just was like, this was such an impulse cast on, and I love them. This very much has become like my bus knitting when I'm going to and from work, or if I just need a break from my other projects. This is very much like a mindless knit that I can just grab when I need something to work on that I don't need to really be paying attention to. So the first sock is finished. This is what I have of the second sock, and you will notice that these stripes don't exactly match up. But that doesn't bother me too much. It's essentially like one stripe off. And normally I do prefer my self-striping socks to match. So I'll usually knit them like 2 at a time. But when you knit them 2 at a time, the stripes become thinner usually. And I'm actually only working from a 50-gram skein of yarn. Normally when I knit socks, I use about 50 grams, 40 to 50 grams to knit socks. And I was more worried that if I cut out the yarn in order for it to start at the same place, that I might run out of yarn. And then if I added in the like chunk that I cut out, it would mess up the sequence of color. So I just decided to rock with it. And I mean, honestly, I kind of like that they're slightly mismatched. I think it'll be really cute. But these are just kind of a in the background kind of knit, I guess. But the yarn is from Tiny Human Knits, which is a yarn dyer. I also believe she has a podcast here on YouTube, but this is her scrappy quilt colorway, and I've been obsessed with it ever since she announced it a while ago, and I missed the initial drop of these skeins, but she ended up re-dyeing it just because so many people loved it and they missed the drop on her Etsy shop. So when she announced that she was doing a re-dye, by the time I was able to get into her Etsy shop, she only had 50-gram sock sets left, And in my head, I was like, listen, I know that when I knit socks for myself, I really only use 40 to 60 grams anyway. And I've been getting into these kind of like crew length socks where there's just like a couple inches of ankle and then it goes into your gusset anyway. So I was like, I think that'll be like the perfect amount. So I just decided to snag one because I really wanted the sock set so much because the colors are just beautiful. And I was like, it should be enough. And if it's not enough, we'll make it work. But love these so much. I love her self-striping. She has a lot of cute ones. I believe she is getting ready to, or she's working on her Christmas sock sets right now. So definitely check her out if you're a fan of self-striping sock yarns, because I absolutely love all of her self-striping colorways. All right, so my last work in progress that I want to share with you guys is super, super exciting, and I kind of broke my word when I said I wasn't going to cast on any fall projects until I finished my t-shirt, but we did it anyway. So this is the Oversized Seasons cardigan by Ozetta, and guys, I told you, I know myself. As soon as I cast this on, I was obsessed, and I literally have not been able to put it down since I cast this on. I want to say I started this Wednesday, a couple days ago, and it's a very new construction for me. So I've only ever knit one cardigan before, and that is my Press Flowers cardigan, which is worked from the bottom up, and then you separate and you do the right, the left, and then the back, and then you 3 needle bind off them together, and then you work the sleeves, and then you go around and you pick up all of your stitches for your button band. This is knit from the top down, and the button band is worked as you go, which was like super weird for me to wrap my head around, and I ended up having to rip this thing back twice in the like 3 days that I've been working on it. 2 of them, and both of them were in the same day, because I found one mistake, ripped it out, fixed it, started knitting on it again, and then realized I made another mistake like way back in the beginning and had to rip it all out and start over completely. So it's been a labor of love, but we finally hit a point where I've used up an entire first skein of my yarn from Hue Loco, which is her Merino worsted and her colorway Fireside from her Cozy in Colorado collection that she had a few years ago. This yarn has been languishing in my stash for a little while with the intentions of knitting a different pattern, but when I found this, I was quite obsessed with it. But here it is! So the way this works, she has you cast on and work about 6 inches of the button band one way, and then you go back up, pick up stitches, and you work 6 inches of the button band the other way, and then you put both of those on double pointed needles, and then you pick up, I can't remember the exact stitch count, but you pick up stitches along one side of the button band, and that's where the cardigan like grows from. So that's how you got like kind of this chunk here. And then you do raglan increases all the way around while you're also still working your button band. That's why the button bands are on their own special like double pointed needle. So you'll work across in half fisherman's rib doing your raglan increases, and then you work across your button band, and then there's also increases there as well. It was a whole new situation for me, essentially. So half fisherman's rib, never knit it before. This construction of cardigan where you work from the top down with the button band at the same time, never had done it before. And it was a recipe for disaster. So I ended up having to rip this out twice, like I said, but we're rocking and rolling now. I've got the pattern locked in my head. I know what I'm supposed to be looking for. But we are 1 skein deep so far, and I really like it. Let me try it on for you so you guys can kind of like see it a little bit. Oh, it looks so good. So, yeah, I really, really like it. I think it's going to be super, super cozy. I still have quite a few increases to go because you have the raglan increases that you do every right side row, and then you have increases that happen in this front panel on both sides every 6th row or every 3rd right side row. And I think you do, at least for my size, because I'm knitting the size 5, I think 9 on the front panel and then 27 for all the raglan increases, which ends up being like the same rate. So you'll stop doing the front panel at the same time you do all the other ones. So that's why I have these light bulb stitch markers here to help mark my every 6th row increase on my panel, which helps me also keep track of like how close I am to being done with the increases. But I really like it. I am so obsessed. The color is gorgeous. The texture is beautiful. And Half Fisherman's Rib is so rhythmic. I love it. It is so nice. And even though it's a cardigan, there's like barely any purling, because for Half Fisherman's Rib, you just knit on the wrong side, because I'm knitting it flat. Whereas if you're working it in the round, you probably have to do the Half Fisherman's Rib, knit below one, purl one, and then the next round, if you're doing it in the round, is the purl. So you have to purl all the way around. But because this is flat, I only have to do knit one below, purl one, and then the back is just all knits. So like, this is like the easiest cardigan ever, because the thing that I think most people hate about cardigans is all the purling you have to do on the wrong side. So, and even though it's Half Fisherman's Rib, which is known to take a long time and eat up a lot of yarn, I've only been working on this really for a couple days, because when I cast it on my button band, I actually didn't have size 5 needles for the button band, and I had to order them on Amazon. They came the next day, and Amazon sent me US 1s instead of US 5s, so I had to return them and reorder them, and then I got these, I want to say, Friday. So I had the essentially 12 inches of button band done, but I needed the double pointed needles to put the ends of it on, so I didn't actually start really working on this project until Friday night. So this is like 2 to 3 days worth. 2 days and like Friday nights, all day Saturday, and then today is Sunday. Like, this is only like barely 3 days worth of work, and it's already like a lot because I can't stop working on it. It's gorgeous. So really, really love it. Yeah, I like actually am obsessed, and I told you guys if I cast this on, I'm not going to work on anything else, and I fear that is true. But I'm going to try to force myself to work on that sunshine tee, because I will not let it sit for a year until summer next year. This project is a lot of firsts for me, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. I do love doing something new and learning something new. So the stitch pattern is new for me, and I'm obsessed with Half Fisherman's Rib now. And the construction itself is new for me because of the like knitting the button band as you go situation, which I really like, because that means there's going to be minimal finishing at the end. So if you've ever knit the Oversized Seasons cardigan by Ozetta, please let me know how you enjoyed it. I know a lot of people tend to feel like the knit as you go button band can be a little fiddly because of the double pointed needles, but I actually really don't mind it. I think I prefer this than having to go back and picking up like 100 plus stitches for a button band. And I kind of like the look of the vertical button band as well. So yeah, let me know if you've ever knit this before and how you liked it, because I'm really, really enjoying it, and it's going to be quite hard for me to put it down. That's all I have for works in progress, and I don't have any new FOs or spinning for you guys. So let's just jump into some acquisitions. This was not a planned purchase, but one of you guys commented on my fall project planning video regarding my plans for the Olga sweater by Petite Knit. And we were just talking about like different color combinations, and how one of the color combinations this person had seen recently was like a dusty green and purple kind of combination, and I was like, I'm obsessed and I need it immediately, and I quite literally could not get it out of my head. So I started dreaming up a lavender matcha themed Olga, and I was on the hunt, you guys, for like the perfect shade of lavender and the perfect shade of like a sagey dusty green. And it was hard. And I'll tell you what, guys, when you have like a certain shade of a color in your head for a project, it is quite hard to find the like perfect shade. And I finally found it, and it's actually affordable, which was super freaking exciting. It's from Knit Picks. It's their palette line, which is the whole point of this line in particular, is that it's wool yarn but in an array of colors, like a palette, so you could theoretically find whatever colors you're looking for in this yarn line. And I am so excited. So palette is a fingering weight yarn, so I do plan to hold this double, but even though I had to buy double the amount of yarn in order to make sure I had the right yardage to knit the sweater, it was only $70 retail, and then they were having their Labor Day weekend sale, so it was an additional 20% off. So I got like almost 16 balls of yarn for like 50 bucks. So the colors are these, guys. It is kind of hard to see because of the lighting in my office right now, but this green is called Celadon Heather, and it's like the literal perfect like dusty sagey green. Like this is what like a matcha from like Starbucks looks like, which is like not the best matcha by any means to drink, but that was the color that I was going for, was that green color. And then this really beautiful dusty light lavender, which is called Penny Royal. And I am so stoked. I quite actually can't stop thinking about it, and everything in me wants to cast this on. But I also know that I already have plenty of fall plans right now that I'm itching to work on. And I feel like this will be really refreshing to cast on and work on like in the middle of February when we're like deep into winter, everything is gray, rainy, and gross, and I just kind of like need some color to like bring me back to life a little bit and to get me more excited for spring. So I think I'm gonna save this to cast on probably like February, so then it's done and I can wear it like March and April when it's still pretty chilly in the Pacific Northwest, but not like freezing. And it'll bring me all the joy because of the color. So thank you. I can't remember the commenter's name, but thank you for instigating this purchase for me, because I'm actually really, really excited, and I feel like this is gonna look so cute. Yeah. I haven't decided which color is gonna be the neckline and the like ribbing for the cuffs and the body yet. I'm leaning towards the green, but I also think the purple could look really cute. So let me know which color you guys think I should do for the collar and the ribbing for the sleeves and the hem in the comments, because I can't decide. I like them both. So that's all I have for acquisition, so let's jump into some life stuff. I don't have much going on in addition to what I already told you guys about last week, but I have officially finished the anime Demon Slayer on Netflix. And I have been told that apparently there is a movie out now, which is supposed to be the like end of the show. And I'm gonna have to figure out where it's playing, because where it ended on the last episode on Netflix has me like losing my mind, and I need to know what happens immediately. I feel like Demon Slayer is a very approachable anime. If you're at all interested in watching anime, I do recommend it. I did have a great time watching it. Anime is really great because most of the time the episodes are only about 20 minutes long, especially if you're watching it on some sort of streaming service, so it is quite easy to blow through. On top of that, because I finished Demon Slayer like Friday night and without realizing I was finishing it, I realized that the newest season of Outlander finally got released on Netflix as well, but the bane of my existence is that it was only 8 episodes, and I blew through 7 of the 8 episodes this weekend, and I will probably be watching the final episode tonight, and I'm really, really sad about it. So if I remember correctly, I think this season got split in half, so maybe the second half of the season will come out later, or this really is just the whole season, which is like really frustrating and makes me sad. But my coworker is super obsessed with Outlander, so she'll be really, really excited when I go into work this week and tell her that I finally watched it. So she's been kind of waiting for me to catch up so we could talk about it, but love Outlander. I love me a good historical fiction, so of course I blew through it in a weekend because it's so good. As for what I'm reading, I'm still reading The Serpent and the Wings of Nyaxia. I haven't actually read that much more into it currently, just because I have been knitting my little heart out. Usually I do read on the bus rides to and from work, but lately I've been bringing my sock with me, which I've been really enjoying. So I haven't been doing a lot of reading recently. I kind of flow in and out of my different hobbies. So I'll be really into reading for a couple weeks, and then I'll be really into knitting for a couple weeks, and then I'll be really into spinning for a couple weeks. I kind of just bebop around to my different hobbies. So I'm sure I will pick it back up soon. I have it downloaded from Kindle Unlimited. I didn't borrow it from a library, so there's no worry of me like it disappearing off my Kindle because it got returned back to the library. So I can kind of take my time with it. I just know, again, the same friend that watches Outlander also really wants me to finish these books because she wants to talk to me about it. So I kind of got to get on it a little bit. So maybe we'll set aside some time this week to actually like finish the book, because it is a quick read and I really do enjoy it. I just kind of like have been really into the Seasons cardigan, so that's kind of what I've been putting a lot of my time into lately. Other than that, today, the day that the video is actually posting, which should be Sunday, September 21st, is my birthday. So it's my birthday today, which is super exciting. Unfortunately, I don't really have any plans this year because it is actually my weekend to work up at the hospital. So I will be working all weekend, which is unfortunate, but you know, that is being an adult. You have to work on your birthday sometimes, which sucks. And Cameron is also working this weekend as well. So we don't have a ton of plans going on, but that's okay. We'll just maybe go grab a nice dinner, the two of us, but it's always fun kind of finishing another rotation around the sun, if you will. But yeah, so I am now 27 years old, which is crazy. The last couple years, like I've graduated college, I moved 14 hours away from home to Boston, Massachusetts to work at my at the time dream job at Boston Children's Hospital. Lived there for 3 years and then quite literally moved across the country to Portland, Oregon, and I've now been here for a little over a year working in a completely new department in the lab at the hospital that I'm really enjoying. I love all my coworkers. I'm getting way more invested in the knitting community in Portland. So for only being 27, I have lived quite a lot of life and I have experienced a lot of things, and I'm very grateful to have gotten to experience everything that I have experienced with the people that I have in my life. So can't wait to see what the year 27 brings. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. If you liked this video, please give it a like. That really helps my channel out. And if you're not already subscribed, you should subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I post from this point going on. I have noticed that like 70% of you guys watch my videos, but you're not subscribed. You guys should subscribe. It really helps my channel out if you guys watch me regularly and you want to subscribe to my channel. So thank you all for stopping at my little crafty corner of YouTube and sharing your time with me today. See you next time. Bye.